Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a time in your life when you will face people who dismiss you, disregard you, and test the limits of your patience. They will challenge your self-worth, and in those moments, you have a choice. Either let their actions define you or take command of your presence. Respect is not something you demand, it is something you command. Through your demeanor, your silence, and your unwavering self-discipline. Before you can expect respect from others, you must first cultivate an unshakable sense of self-respect. This is not arrogance, nor is it an inflated sense of self-importance. It is a deep, unwavering understanding of your own worth. The way you see yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. If you undervalue your presence, others will too. If you carry yourself as though you are not worthy of respect, people will subconsciously take that as permission to dismiss you. Respect is not something you plead for, it is something you exude. It is the way you walk into a room, the way you hold your posture, the way you speak with certainty and clarity. A person who respects themselves does not seek validation from external sources because their confidence is rooted within. This is not to say that you should disregard the opinions of others entirely, but rather that your sense of worth should never be dependent on them. People can sense insecurity. They can detect when someone is uncertain of their own value, and unfortunately, the world is not always kind to those who doubt themselves. Those who lack confidence become easy targets for dismissal, manipulation, and disrespect. This is why self-respect must be non-negotiable. It should not fluctuate based on the approval or disapproval of those around you. It must be a constant force, independent of circumstance. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you allow others to belittle you, if you make excuses for their disrespect, you are silently telling them that it is acceptable to treat you that way. The moment you establish a firm sense of self-respect, you will naturally start rejecting situations and people who undermine it. This is not done through loud confrontation or desperate demands for recognition, but through an unspoken energy that makes it clear that you will not engage with anything beneath your standards. A person who truly knows their worth does not waste time convincing others of it. They understand that not everyone will recognize or appreciate their value, and that is perfectly fine. The goal is not to make everyone respect you. The goal is to ensure that you never compromise your own dignity in pursuit of that respect. Self-respect also requires a commitment to self-improvement. If you want to command respect, you must first become someone worthy of it. This means continuously working on your knowledge, skills, discipline, and character. People respect competence. They respect those who carry themselves with quiet confidence and those who are so focused on their growth that they have no time to seek approval from others. Respect starts from within. The way you see yourself influences the way the world sees you. If you want to be treated with dignity, you must first embody it. Speak with confidence, move with purpose, and most importantly, never lower your standards to accommodate those who fail to recognize your worth. Silence is one of the most underrated yet powerful tools in dealing with those who do not respect you. Most people believe that respect is earned through confrontation, by proving a point, or by engaging in endless debates. In reality, true strength often lies in knowing when not to speak. Silence is not weakness, it is control. It is a demonstration of self-restraint, a refusal to be drawn into unnecessary conflicts, and a signal that you do not need to validate yourself through argument. When someone disrespects you, their goal is often to provoke a reaction. They seek to elicit anger, frustration, or any sign that they have power over your emotions. The moment you respond with heated words or defensive explanations, you give them exactly what they want, evidence that they have affected you. But when you remain silent, unbothered, and composed, you strip them of that satisfaction. You turn their disrespect into an empty gesture, one that carries no weight because it fails to shake you. Not every action requires a reaction. There are moments when the best response is no response at all. This is not an act of passivity, but rather a strategic decision to conserve your energy for battles that truly matter. Silence forces people to confront their own words and actions. When you refuse to engage, it leaves space for them to reflect, consciously or unconsciously, on the futility of their behavior. It creates discomfort because people expect an immediate response, a counter-argument, or some form of retaliation. When none comes, they are left unsettled, realizing that their attempts to undermine you have fallen flat. Silence also has the ability to command respect. There is a certain aura that surrounds those who do not feel the need to prove themselves through constant talking. They listen more than they speak. They observe more than they react. Their words, when they do choose to use them, carry more weight because they are not thrown around carelessly. People take them seriously because they understand that when a person who values silence finally speaks, it is worth listening to. Silence is not about allowing disrespect to go unchecked. It is about knowing when words will be ineffective and choosing a more powerful response instead. Some situations require a direct response, but many do not. When someone's words are meant to provoke, arguing only feeds the fire. Instead, a calm, silent presence has the ability to extinguish their need for conflict. It sends an unspoken message. Your words do not define me, and I refuse to lower myself to your level. There is great dignity in silence. It is a mark of confidence, self-respect, and inner strength. When used wisely, it not only shields you from unnecessary negativity, but also establishes you as someone who does not seek approval through meaningless exchanges. A person who masters the art of silence becomes impossible to manipulate, and in that mastery, they command respect effortlessly. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define how others are allowed to treat you. They are not about shutting people out, nor are they about being cold or distant. They are about self-respect. When you set boundaries, you are making it clear what is and isn't acceptable in your life. Without them, you leave yourself open to disrespect, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. People will only treat you the way you allow them to, and if you do not establish clear boundaries, they will continue to push the limits of your patience and tolerance. Many people hesitate to set boundaries because they fear losing relationships or being seen as difficult. However, boundaries do not push away the right people, they filter out the wrong ones. Those who genuinely respect you will acknowledge and honor your limits, while those who only seek to take advantage of you will become frustrated when they realize they can no longer control or manipulate you. This is a necessary loss. A life without boundaries invites chaos, and those who do not respect you will continue to drain your energy if you allow them to. Enforcing boundaries does not require aggression or confrontation. It requires clarity and consistency. The first step is recognizing what behaviors you will no longer tolerate. This could include being spoken to in a condescending manner, being taken for granted, or having your time disrespected. Once you identify these patterns, you must communicate them firmly but calmly. When someone crosses a line, you do not need to explain yourself excessively. A simple statement such as, "I do not accept being spoken to that way," or "I will not engage in this kind of conversation," is enough. The key is to stand by your words and not allow anyone to test your resolve. The mistake many people make is setting boundaries but failing to enforce them. If someone repeatedly disrespects you and you continue to tolerate it, your words become meaningless. You must be willing to follow through with consequences. If a person refuses to change their behavior, distance yourself. If they disregard your time, limit your availability to them. When you show that your boundaries are not negotiable, people learn to respect them. One of the strongest signs of self-respect is the ability to walk away from situations that violate your boundaries. This does not mean reacting emotionally or creating unnecessary drama. It means calmly removing yourself from environments and relationships that do not align with your standards. You do not need to beg for respect or convince someone to treat you better. If they do not see your worth, it is their loss, not yours. Boundaries are an expression of self-worth. They show the world that you value yourself enough to protect your peace. They are not selfish, they are necessary. The moment you stop accepting less than you deserve, you will notice a shift, not only in how people treat you, but in how you see yourself. People who command respect do so because they refuse to tolerate anything less. Emotional control is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop, especially when dealing with those who do not respect you. People who seek to undermine or belittle others often rely on provoking emotional reactions. They want to see frustration, anger, or insecurity because it confirms their power over you. The moment you lose control, you hand them exactly what they are looking for, proof that they can manipulate your state of mind. True strength lies in your ability to remain composed no matter the situation. And feeling hurt, angry, or frustrated when disrespected is completely normal. However, reacting impulsively only gives the other person control over you. When you respond with anger or defensiveness, you validate their behavior by showing that they have the ability to affect you. Instead of allowing someone else to dictate your emotions, practice restraint. This does not mean suppressing your feelings, but rather mastering them in a way that serves you rather than weakens you. Controlled demeanor unsettles those who thrive on conflict. When someone insults you, belittles you, or tries to provoke you, they expect an emotional reaction. When you remain unshaken, they are forced to confront their own words. Your composure signals that their opinions do not define you, and nothing frustrates a disrespectful person more than realizing they cannot get under your skin. Emotional control is not just about how you respond externally, it is also about the internal dialogue you maintain. The way you interpret disrespect determines how much power it has over you. Instead of seeing it as a personal attack, view it as a reflection of the other person's character, not your worth. People who constantly disrespect others are often projecting their own insecurities and frustrations. When you recognize this, their words lose their sting. One of the best ways to strengthen emotional control is through mindfulness and self-awareness. Before reacting, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will responding change anything? Who holds the power in this situation, me or them? More often than not, silence or a measured response will serve you better than a heated argument. This does not mean allowing disrespect to go unchecked. There are times when a firm but composed response is necessary. The difference is in how it is delivered. A person who speaks with calm authority commands respect far more than someone who shouts in frustration. When you respond with controlled confidence, you send a message that you are not easily rattled, and that alone shifts the power dynamic in your favor. Mastering emotional control is a lifelong practice, but it is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It protects your energy, keeps you from being manipulated, and ensures that you remain in control of your own life. The more you refine this ability, the less power anyone else will have over you. In the end, those who cannot control their emotions will always be controlled by others, while those who master their emotions will command true respect. Actions carry a weight that words often fail to hold. People may ignore what you say, but they cannot deny what you consistently demonstrate through your behavior. When dealing with those who do not respect you, the most effective response is not lengthy explanations, emotional appeals, or attempts to convince them of your worth. It is the silent, undeniable proof of your value through your actions. Respect is not something you ask for, it is something you embody. The way you carry yourself, the way you handle challenges, and the standards you uphold all communicate who you are without the need for excessive words. Those who lack respect for you may dismiss what you say, but they cannot argue with what you do. This is why maintaining your integrity, discipline, and commitment to self-improvement is far more powerful than any argument you could ever make. People who rely on disrespect often expect a defensive reaction. They anticipate that you will try to justify yourself, argue, or seek their approval. The moment you engage in this way, you put yourself in a position of weakness. Instead, when faced with disrespect, redirect your focus from proving yourself to improving yourself. The most effective way to deal with those who undermine you is not to convince them otherwise, but to continue moving forward in a way that makes their opinions irrelevant. Your discipline and your ability to stay composed in the face of adversity speak volumes about you. When you excel in your craft, when you show resilience, and when you refuse to let negativity distract you, even those who doubt you are forced to take notice. Success is often the greatest response to disrespect because it eliminates the need for verbal validation. It shifts the dynamic. Those who once dismissed you may find themselves in the position of having to acknowledge your strength, whether they want to or not. This approach does not mean ignoring every act of disrespect or allowing people to walk over you. It means choosing your battles wisely. There are times when standing your ground through words is necessary, but more often than not, demonstrating your worth through consistent action is the most effective way to command respect. When people see that their opinions do not define your course, they lose the ability to control you. One of the greatest tests of character is how you respond to those who do not see your value. Will you lower yourself to meet their level, or will you rise above it? The answer is in your actions. Carry yourself in a way that leaves no room for doubt about who you are. Let your presence be felt, not through forceful words, but through the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. In the end, those who do not respect you will either be forced to acknowledge you or be left behind as you continue forward, unaffected and unstoppable. Rising above disrespect is not about proving a point to others. It is about proving to yourself that you will not allow negativity to define you. When faced with disrespect, many people instinctively react by demanding recognition or lowering themselves to the level of those who belittle them. But true power lies in restraint, in maintaining your standards, and in refusing to let others dictate your actions. The moment you engage in petty disputes, you give away your strength. Instead, the most dignified and effective response is to rise above the situation entirely. Not everyone you encounter will respect you, and that is a reality of life. Some people will fail to see your worth, not because you lack value, but because their perception is clouded by their own limitations. When you internalize this, you free yourself from the need to seek approval or validation from those who do not matter. Instead of wasting energy trying to change their opinions, direct that energy toward your growth, your goals, and your own self-respect. Rising above disrespect does not mean ignoring it or pretending it does not exist. It means recognizing it for what it is, a reflection of the other person, not of you. People who habitually disrespect others often do so out of insecurity, jealousy, or a need for control. Their actions are not a measure of your worth, but of their own unresolved issues. When you understand this, their words and behavior lose their power over you. One of the strongest indicators of self-respect is the ability to choose your battles wisely. Not every insult requires a response. Not every challenge is worth your time. And not every person who disrespects you deserves your attention. There is great wisdom in knowing when to walk away, not because you are weak, but because your time and energy are too valuable to be spent on those who do not appreciate them. Walking away does not mean surrender. It means you refuse to let negativity disrupt your peace. Rising above disrespect may involve setting firm boundaries, distancing yourself from toxic individuals, or excelling in your personal and professional life despite those who doubt you. It is about proving, not through words but through actions, that you are unshaken by the opinions of others. The most powerful response to those who disrespect you is to thrive in such a way that their words become irrelevant. This mindset shift is not about arrogance, but about self-preservation. You do not need to prove your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You do not need to explain yourself to those who have already decided to diminish you. What you need is to focus on your own path, elevate your standards, and refuse to engage in anything that does not contribute to your growth. Those who do not respect you will either be forced to acknowledge your strength or fade into the background as you continue to move forward. The choice is always yours. Will you lower yourself to meet them, or will you rise so high that their disrespect becomes meaningless? Respect is not something you demand, it is something you command through your presence, actions, and mindset. Those who do not respect you reveal more about themselves than they do about you, and your response to their behavior determines whether they hold power over you or not. The key is not to seek validation from those who fail to see your worth, but to cultivate such unwavering self-respect that their opinions become irrelevant. Setting firm boundaries, mastering emotional control, and letting your actions speak louder than words, you establish an unshakable foundation. When faced with disrespect, remember that silence can be more powerful than argument. Self-improvement is the best response, and rising above negativity is a sign of true strength. You do not need to lower yourself to prove a point. You do not need to engage in unnecessary battles to earn respect. The moment you choose dignity over reaction, you take control. In the end, those who truly matter will recognize your worth, and those who don't will be left behind. Walk with confidence, stand firm in your values, and never allow the smallness of others to diminish the greatness within you. Respect begins with you, embody it, and the world will follow. Respect is not won in arguments. It is earned through consistency, through discipline, through an unshakable commitment to excellence. When words fail, let your actions do the talking. People may ignore what you say, but they cannot deny the weight of your achievements. I leave you with this. Never lower yourself to meet the disrespect of others. Rise above it. Carry yourself with a quiet strength that demands recognition. Because in the end, those who truly matter will see you, not for the way others treat you, but for the way you command your own presence. Thank you.